Are you struggling with stress today and just can't figure out how to solve it? It's probably because you're coming at it from the completely wrong direction. I'm going to help you in the next few minutes overcome your stress. I'm Jim, and I help people just like you every day on here understand how to have peace, purpose, and prosperity in their life. If that sounds like something you want more of, I invite you to subscribe below, give this video a like, and leave me a comment so I'll get to know you just a little bit better. So how do we do this? Before we're done here in the next few minutes, I'm going to share two possible scenarios, two rivers that we tend to live on when it comes to stress in our life, and how to get off the wrong river and onto the right river. And at the end, if you hang around to the very end, I want to take you through a little exercise that's going to help you deal with stress in your life right now, and you can utilize it anytime, anywhere, throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout your life. Let's get into it. When I was growing up, my first car before I even turned 16 was, and we were not a family with a lot of money, but my dad bought me this old car, and it was a 63 Ranchero. And if you've ever seen a Ranchero, it's kind of a car truck, and this was an old one. And we had it in our open carport garage there, and I worked and worked and worked on it. I put a hot rod steering wheel in it, like those 3-spoke ones from back in the 80s and the 70s when all that was popular. And my dad body work, so we were fixing the body up and we're getting it ready to paint. We're doing all this stuff to it. And the Ranchero at this point did not even run. I don't even think it had an engine in it, if I remember, but I know it was not running. We were working on the outside because that's what I wanted to get looking right. That's what I was excited about. And we ended up selling that car, and I ended up with a different truck that was my dad's truck when I turned 16. That car never even got running. I was working on the outside of it rather than what really mattered, the engine that would take me down the road in the car truck, the Ranchero. And see, a lot of times that's what's going on with stress in my life, in your life. We have been convinced that stress is all external. It's coming from our job. It's coming from relationships. It's coming from financial problems. It's coming from wherever it comes from in your life. But the truth is, stress is only coming from one place, and that's inside of you. So if it's an inner feeling, then it's got to be dealt with internally. You got to get this right and this right if you want to deal with stress in your life. It's not about figuring out how to deal with it. That's kind of processing the results of stress from the outside. It's dealing with it in here. So how do we do that? Well, it all depends on what river you're living on. I want to talk to you about two rivers for a minute that you probably, more than likely, are on one of these rivers when it comes to stress in your life right now. The first is the lazy river. Have you ever been to a water park that has a lazy river? I'm kind of a ride junkie. When we go to amusement parks, water parks, I like the big slides, the big roller coasters, the big stuff. My wife likes the lazy river. She likes just to get in one of the tubes and float around and let her tube and the water flow gently and carry her around as she relaxes in the lazy river. I lived so much of my life not on the lazy river. My wife had it figured out a long time before I did. One time when we were in Arkansas, we took a church group to this place called the Spring River, where people would go float this thing in canoes, and I'd never been floating before. And I got in this canoe with a lady from our church and her young son, and they were very timid people, and they had never been floating either, but they needed somebody to go with them to show them the ropes. And who better than me, who had never done this in my life before. And the Spring River is not whitewater rafting, but it's no joke. It's a real floating river. And man, halfway through this trip, the canoe turned over. They were freaking out. I was trying to help get them in, and I had on some of those water shoes, those shoe mates like you wear in the river. And I remember one of them just sucked off. I felt the pull of the water suck it off, and a few minutes later, it sucked my other one off. So I'm barefoot in this river with all these rocks and this hard flowing water. And man, that was a rough day by the time we got that canoe down to the place we got out of the river. A lot of us live our lives in that kind of a river. We live in this river of stress that just relentlessly keeps coming. Every day you get up and more stress builds on from the day before, and you feel stuck in the river. You feel like there's people dependent on you. You've got to earn the income, or you've got to maintain the relationship, or you got to keep the debt flow going, keep the in spout coming in so the outspout as it flows out doesn't deplete your financial tank. You feel this complete pull of the river when it comes to stress in your life. The truth is, where you can live is in the lazy river that my wife likes, where you just get into the tube and you let God, your source, the universe, carry you where you're meant to go. Now, how do you do this? You start dealing with your stress internally where it really counts. Now, here's the practice. Here's how we're going to do this together. If you want to battle stress in your life, stop trying to fight it on the outside. That's just circumstance in your life. Your response to circumstance is what causes stress in your life. I'm not saying you don't have issues and pressures and things. We all have problems in our life, but we get to decide how we respond to our problems and to our situations. And I want to challenge you today to start dealing with stress internally. And here is a quick practice. Take just a minute if you're feeling stressed today or anytime you're feeling stressed. Get by yourself if it's in a bathroom where you work, or if you can sit down in your living room at home or lay down on your bed in the bedroom, and just take a couple of minutes to picture a nice flowing golden river, not the spring river, not a whitewater river, but just a lazy river, a flowing golden river. See that river flowing by in front of you. Walk to the edge of the river. And what I want you to do is, whatever it is that you feel like you need to control in your life, it's your finances, that relationship, your job, your responsibility to the people or the family in your life, whatever it is, whatever that is for you, I want you just to take that and be willing to see it as a golden light coming out of your heart. Do you see that? Let it come out of your heart into your hands. And I want you just to gently toss it onto the golden river and watch it as it floats lazily down like an inner tuber on the river, and just watch that control that you've been hanging on to float down the river. Watch it until it goes completely out of sight around the next bend, and that golden light is gone. You've let go of that stress in your life. Now here's the second part. I want to challenge you to wade into the river with me. Are you ready? Wade out into the golden river. There's no current. There's just a gentle movement of the river. Now, if you're a floater and you want to float on your back, float on your back. I'm not a floater. I'm not good at that. Some people say you can float on water. I can't. I just envision myself in one of those inner tubes like they have at a lazy river in an amusement park. Get in your tube or lay on your back. Just float in the water and gently let the river begin to carry you now downstream, wherever the river wants to go. That river is the universe. It is source. It is infinite wisdom, and it's going to take you exactly where you need to go. But what about? Forget about but what about. That's where my mind likes to go if I try to trust and float. Don't worry about it. The infinite source of wisdom in the universe is never going to take you in a wrong direction. You can trust that source and that force. You can trust God if that's how you believe and that's what you connect with. Lay back in that inner tube and float down that lazy river just for a few minutes in your life today. And as you start to practice that, you will let go of stress in your life. It can be any stress or it can be anything that's holding you back. Let it go. Watch it go down the river. Get in your tube, lay on your back, whatever works for you, and let yourself float and trust where your source is going to take you. I hope this helps you today. If it does, leave me a comment below and tell me what would you like to send down the river today.